How to Frontside Shove It. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to land a frontside shove it, and some common mistakes that might be holding you back from landing them. What is a frontside shove it? The frontside shove it is where you scoop your board in a frontside motion 180 degrees without turning your body. The reason this trick is frontside is because you're scooping the board forward with your back foot to make the shove it happen. It is also considered frontside because your board is spinning the same way that it would if you were doing a frontside 180. You could think of this trick as a frontside 180 without spinning your body. I have noticed that a lot of skaters skip past this trick when they are learning the basics, but personally I think it's a really fun trick. Learning to scoop this trick really well will help you later on when learning tricks like varial heel flips or the more popular hard flip, which are some of my favorite tricks. I'm going to show you how to do this trick while popping the board. Since the pivot point is on the back of the board, doing frontside shove its without popping can be pretty awkward and are rarely done while rolling forward. Fakey frontside shove its, on the other hand, are much easier to do without popping because the pivot point is on the front of the board instead of the back of the board. The first frontside shove its were actually called front pops by Steve Rocco, who is credited for doing the first frontside shove its back in 1979. He recalls doing them the first time at a skate contest called the Super Skate Show in Venezuela. He says that there was a 3 or 4 inch pipe to keep skaters from riding on the arena floor. Rocco and Alan Gelfand, who is credited for doing the first ollie, started skating over the pipe, challenging themselves to do tricks over it. And the front pop was one of those tricks. Even Rodney Mullen says he can't recall anyone doing front pops the way that Steve did. Aside from getting your ollies down really well, there are a few things that you should keep in mind before trying this trick. I think it's important to remind yourself of these things before you try any new trick. Be comfortable on your board. I know I say this in all of my beginner how-to videos, but if you are new to skateboarding, then you should spend as much time as you can rolling around on your board. Being comfortable on your skateboard is going to help you land tricks more than anything else. Since this trick requires the board to disconnect from your feet while it rotates, the one thing that will help you the most is landing your ollies really comfortably. It could also help you to learn backside shove its first, since they tend to be easier for many people, but it's not required. Learning backside shove its will help you mainly when it comes to catching the board and understanding how to land in a stable way without slipping out. Timing. All skateboard tricks are about having good timing. Your feet have to work together, but they are doing separate motions. These movements are difficult or even awkward when you're trying a new trick. If you have learned a few other tricks already, then you know that after you do them a few times, your muscle memory kicks in, and you won't have to think about doing the trick nearly as much as you did when you were learning it. This is why having really good timing when learning new tricks is so important. Like I said before, if you're not very comfortable with your ollies, then you should spend some time really getting the timing of them as good as you can. Understanding the pop of an ollie and how to level out the board will help you a lot when learning frontside shove its. Jump. For most tricks, including this one, the trick happens in the air. You have to get your board off the ground to make this trick happen. Although this might seem obvious, it is easy to forget. For these how-to videos, I actually spend a month or more sometimes perfecting, filming, and fully understanding these tricks so that I can really break them down and help you guys land them. So if you're enjoying the video or if it's helping you and you would like to support my channel, all you have to do is like the video or even subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified when I post a new video. Foot and shoulder position. The foot position for the frontside shove it is actually pretty comfortable compared to a lot of other tricks. Keep in mind that you might find a foot position slightly different than mine that works better for you. You are going to put your feet almost exactly in the ollie position with some small adjustments. You want your back foot slightly closer to the side of the tail than you would put it with a normal ollie, so that you can get a comfortable pop with a slight scoop. You also want to put your front foot near where you would put it for an ollie, but with your toes hanging off just a bit more. Your front foot is only going to be used to catch the board for this trick, so it's important when you set up that you put it in a position where you can easily get it out of the way of the board while it rotates. You should be pretty comfortable riding in this foot position before trying to do the trick. When you set up your feet, you also want to think about your shoulder position. You really want to lock your shoulders over the bolts of the board and keep them there for the entire trick. This will help you more than you might think to keep your body straight and to keep the board under you during the trick. The frontside shove it can be broken down into 3 parts: pressure, pop and scoop, and catch and landing. Pressure. This trick is almost spring-loaded. What I mean by that is before you even pop the trick, you're able to put a lot of pressure into the board. The reason for this is your weight is evenly distributed and your front foot is centered on the board. So before you pop, you can really put a lot of pressure into the board, allowing you to pop and scoop the tail down really hard. Just remember to keep your shoulders square with the board and keep your feet flat. Keeping your feet flat while you do this trick is really what's going to help the most with keeping the board from flipping over. Pop and scoop. The scoop of this trick is different than a normal backside shove it, because with the backside shove it, you're able to use your knee and ankle to scoop the board. Since your knee obviously does not bend backwards, the frontside shove it is more of a popping motion than a scoop. Before you pop, you want to start with your knees bent, but remember to keep your shoulders over the bolts. You are going to pop straight down with your back foot, and as the board pops and hits the ground, scoop your foot forward enough to get the board to rotate 180 degrees. Don't forget to lift your back foot after you scoop the board. Keep in mind, if you're scooping too much, then the board won't stay under you. At the same time that you pop, you want to pull your front foot straight up so that it doesn't get in the way of the rotation of the board. You really want to focus on keeping your front foot flat even after you pop. If the board is flipping over, it's probably because you're bending your ankle on your front foot without realizing it, or accidentally bumping the board, causing it to flip over. If you're really having trouble getting the pop, try holding on to something like a fence while you figure out the pop and scoop of this trick. This will also help you not put your feet on the ground during the trick. Catch and landing. Once you can get a good flat rotation on the board, you're going to catch it with your front foot. When you catch it, you want to be at the highest point in the air and let the board come up to your foot. If you push your front foot down too much to catch the board, it will get kicked away or even flip over. You really have to let the board come up to your foot and then let gravity pull you and the board down as you put your back foot on the board. A good way to visualize this trick while you are on the board is to imagine you are throwing the back of the board and tail up to your front foot and then guiding the board to the ground. Don't forget to bend your knees to absorb the impact as you land and roll away. If this video helped you, check out one of the other videos on the screen or head over to my channel to learn plenty of other tricks.